After World War II, civil aviation began to grow rapidly. Passenger aircraft that had once served military purposes were now transporting families, tourists, and businessmen. Among them was the Douglas DC-3, reliable, relatively fast, and well-suited for long-distance travel. It was chosen for its stability and comfort. The peaceful Caribbean, the quiet night runways of Puerto Rico and Miami. Everything created a sense of safety and calm. But the unknown was waiting for Flight DC-3. The DC-3 was a reliable twin-engine airliner, but this particular aircraft had a history of technical reports concerning its batteries. Captain Robert Linthner thoroughly checked all systems before the flight, making sure the engines were functioning properly. The co-pilot closely monitored the instruments while the radio operator tested the communication systems. There were 29 people on board. Among them, families with children, tourists, businessmen, and military personnel. The Martin family, traveling with 2 kids, were discussing their New Year's plans. A young businessman named Dave sat quietly with a newspaper, scanning for economic news. Retired serviceman Smith watched the crew in silence, his gaze calm and steady. The cabin was lit with a soft glow. Children played, adults spoke in hushed tones. Everyone was thinking only about one thing, a safe and happy journey home. At 9:45 p.m., the crew completed their pre-flight check. "Everything's working fine," said Lintner. "Radio and instruments are ready," the radio operator replied. The aircraft rolled down the runway, its engines humming steadily. The moon hung high in the sky, casting its glow over the tropical trees and quiet terminals. At 10 p.m., the plane took off. The first part of the route passed over San Juan and the coast of Puerto Rico. The radio operator transmitted the coordinates: 2215, altitude 3,000 feet, heading straight for Miami. Children were laughing, adults admired the night ocean, and the crew kept a close eye on the instruments. Around 11:50 p.m., the radio operator reported, "We're having battery issues. The signal is weak." The captain decided to continue the flight. The discussion in the cockpit was calm but tense. "We have to stay on course," said Lintner. "The radio isn't very stable," replied the radio operator. The passengers had no sense of trouble. The cabin remained quiet. Only the soft hum of the engines and the distant sound of waves outside the windows. Young people chatted about the holidays. Families exchanged small gifts. Children occasionally peeked out the windows, admiring the night ocean. The captain closely monitored the instrument readings, the co-pilot maintained the course, and the radio operator tried to keep contact with the controllers. Tension was building, but the crew's professionalism left no room for panic. "Hold the course. The batteries are still holding," said Lintner. Around 4:13 a.m., the radio operator transmitted to the Miami controller: "Altitude 3,000 feet, course to Miami stable, engines running normally." The controller replied, "Roger, we're expecting you for landing." That was the last signal. Just a few minutes later, all further calls went unanswered. The radio emitted only static. The crew couldn't have known that the next few hours would mark the beginning of one of the most mysterious tragedies of the 20th century. Just a few minutes after the final contact, the DC-3 vanished from radar. No SOS signals, no wreckage, no fuel slicks on the water. Radio stations and air traffic controllers tried for hours to re-establish contact, but in vain. The ocean remained completely silent. The U.S. Navy immediately launched a search operation. The Coast Guard and civilian aircraft joined the effort. Planes circled over the ocean and ships scoured every square kilometer. But not a single trace was found. The search lasted several weeks and became one of the largest civilian and military search missions of its time. Investigators and journalists considered several theories. Technical failure, problems with the batteries, could have caused instrument malfunctions. Crew error, night flight, darkness, and unreliable radio communication might have led to disorientation. Meteorological anomalies, tropical storms, and magnetic compass deviations. Mysticism, legends about the Bermuda Triangle supposedly swallowing planes. None of the theories were confirmed. No evidence, no wreckage, no witnesses. Newspapers ran huge headlines. DC-3 plane vanishes without a trace over the Bermuda Triangle. Families of the passengers gathered at airports hoping for a miracle. Journalists interviewed relatives, publishing photos of the passengers and stories about their last flight. People felt a mix of fear and hope, while the mystique of the Bermuda Triangle began to grow rapidly, shrouded in legend. The story of the DC-3 echoed that of the Star Tiger and Star Ariel. All the planes disappeared in the same region, with experienced crews and favorable weather conditions. These coincidences sparked numerous theories about anomalous zones and unknown forces at work in the area. Scientists proposed logical explanations: instrument failure, issues with batteries or the electrical system, sudden storms, localized tropical whirlwinds could have thrown the course off, magnetic anomalies, compass deviations causing navigation errors. The disappearance of DC-3 changed the approach to aviation safety. Increased focus on night flights over the ocean, strengthened equipment inspections, began more thorough monitoring of radio communications and autonomous instruments. And although the tragedy remained unsolved, it influenced the development of civil aviation and search and rescue operations. 29 people went missing without a trace. The DC-3 became a symbol of the Bermuda Triangle's mysteries, a place where science, myths, and fear of the unknown intersect. Its story has inspired books, documentaries, and research into the enigmatic disappearances in the region. The story of the DC-3 shows that even experienced pilots and reliable aircraft do not guarantee safety over the ocean. The tragedy remains unsolved, but has become a legend about mysterious zones and the challenges of aviation. It combines technical aspects of flight, crew psychology, public reaction, mystical, and scientific theories. This story will remain in memory as one of the most mysterious air disasters of the 20th century.